I ain't the sharpest toot in the shed. She was looking kinda dumb with her finger and her. Oh, fuck. It's recording. Hit it, Steve. Hello, 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 everyone. Thank you so much for joining episode 5 of the Lord of the Momos cast. I am very excited to welcome you, and I am very thankful for you for welcoming me into your head, into your ears. And for the next 15 or 20 minutes or so, we'll go ahead and learn a little bit about myself. I did have an interview scheduled for today, but unfortunately, due to scheduling conflicts, that won't happen. However, I am right. I have a couple of topics that I want to talk with you guys, and hopefully, you guys find them entertaining and informative. Before we begin, I want to make it a thing now that with each podcast, I want to deliver a quick little message to everybody, and I want you to know that you matter, that you're loved, that you're important to somebody, and that you are valued. So, fuck what everybody else thinks. Welcome to episode 5. Tonight, I want to talk about anger, and I want to divide it in 3 little sections: silly things that make me angry, serious issues that make me angry, and global issues that make me angry. So, this is not what you think. It's not going to be an angry episode, but hopefully makes you reflect. Hopefully gives you perspective on my opinion on how I feel, and it might help you put things together on your end as well. Maybe one thing that I'll say, it'll remind you of something in your life, or you'll see that we both hate the same thing. We'll explore and go over a couple of things. Anger is a very powerful feeling. We can use it to our benefit. We can use it to a disadvantage. Sometimes anger, you need it in your heart to push you through the day, to help you accomplish your goals. But sometimes you don't need it. And that is the fine line that we walk every day. That fine line between being sane and seeing red and losing it over something that you have no control or little control over. One of the things that has always made me upset, and it's something little, is being late. I cannot stand being late, especially to something important, especially to something that I need. For example, work, school. I hate being late. And it bothers me even more when I hear people say, "Oh, I'm late because of traffic." But how many years have you lived here to know that traffic is bad at specific times? How long have you lived here to realize that maybe you should leave 5 minutes before if you're always 5 minutes late? Maybe this is something that I brought from the military, something that it's been inculcated in me, but I like it. I like showing up 10, 15 minutes, just making sure that I have been there on time. So I make sure that I'm there on time. Also, it bothers me really bad when other people are late. And since I'm supervising a team of people, I have to keep tabs on their timing and to see in their attendance whoever's late, whoever's not punching out correctly. And it angers me because I'm dealing with adults that come up with every excuse in the book to say, "Oh, sorry, I was late because of traffic. I was late because of traffic." And it never really seems to change. I would understand if they were honest and said, hey, I'm late because I woke up late, or I'm late because I didn't want to come to work, something like that. There are different things why people are late, and I'm not saying they cannot be, but it's just simply one of those things that really bothers me. Now, one of the things that I've done to improve myself and being late has been aiming for 10 minutes or 15 minutes, like I said. So if I'm supposed to be somewhere at 10, I will aim to be there between 9:45 and 9:50. And if I don't know the place, I like to be there at least 20 minutes early. Some people think I exaggerate, but again, it's one of those little things that angers me, that annoys me, being late and other people being late. So hopefully you're not as easily upset as I get sometimes when people or I am late. But tell me in the comments, what's something silly that upsets you? What's something insignificant or something that people wouldn't normally get mad about? Okay, now let's move on to something a little bit more serious. Moving on with the topic of anger. Sometimes I feel anger when I'm being ignored, blocked, ghosted. I don't think anybody likes to be blocked or ignored, especially by someone that you appreciate, someone that you care about. And it's part of life that at some point a person does not want to talk to you. It comes to a point where a person might not want to do anything with you or have anything to do with you. And I might have led myself to that position to where I will not be part of a conversation anymore. And that hurts. That angers me. Because I kind of like to get the last word in. And if I'm not able to, then I have no closure. And maybe I should have put this on the silly anger problems, but this is something serious for me, something that I struggle with. Maybe it's the rejection that I cannot deal with, or maybe it's just me being a brat that I just need to get the last word in. But being ignored, being blocked, that sort of thing is one thing that angers me a lot, to the point where when I was ghosted by a girlfriend some time back, I lost it. And the non-stop calling, the 50 calls, 50 texts, I was that guy. And obviously not attractive, but that's me, I'm a little bit of a brat, but thankfully I've learned to control it. I'm okay with being ignored. I am accepting that being ignored is part of life, something that I cannot force people to do. I cannot force them to lend me their ear. I cannot force them to listen to me. So I'm just going to talk to whoever wants to listen to me. You guys, thank you so much for listening to me rant right now, but it adds value to my words. It adds value to what I'm saying. And I don't think I'm an unreasonable guy. So if you have me blocked, please unblock me so we can talk. No, just kidding. But that's one of the biggest things that I'm currently struggling with. Finding not only myself, but finding my voice. Meaning, am I really a brat, or do I just care too much to where if I lose contact with a person out of the blue, I'm gonna be affected by it. If you go talking to someone every day, almost every minute of the day, and then out of nowhere that gets taken from you, it's a big void to fill. And maybe my brain doesn't process that as other normal people would. For example, other people get ignored, get blocked, get whatever, and they just shrug it off. Not a big deal. But to me, it like stings a little bit. That little sting feeling somewhere in my body, that it just doesn't feel good. and that leads me to become angry. And with that anger, I just explode. Thankfully, I'm working on some meditation, some breathing techniques, and other tools at my disposal that are helping me. For example, the podcast. It's really helping me communicate a little bit better, express my ideas, express my feelings, because I have a medium. I'm not repressing all my feelings anymore. I'm not bottling that anger of like, fuck, that bitch fucking blocked me. No, I am accepting the fact that, hey, someone doesn't want to talk to me, but maybe someone else will. So there's my little rant about being ignored and how angry that makes me. Hopefully you have more patience than me and more acceptance of others' decisions. Lastly, I want to go over what makes me angry about the world globally. And I'm going to split it in two parts. One being the anger that gets started with me when I see racism, especially here in California, in a place where we're supposed to be very progressive, very open-minded. Seeing racist things really shocked me. It shouldn't, because we live in a society where racism happens every day. But when you live in a place that's welcoming, that people mind their business, to experience racism can be a little bit challenging. And that's what makes me angry. I may not be African American, so I don't experience that type of racism, but I do experience it, especially being a Hispanic man. I get my fair share of racism within my own community. Other Hispanic people will look at me and pass judgment right away, and it makes me feel weird. I've never been judged by the way I look until I moved here, until I moved to the United States. And that's one of those things that it's new and it took some time to adjust. One of the biggest things at hand at the moment is that anger towards my own people, towards people who call me terrorist because I have a beard, people who call me hobo because I have a long beard. And I know that words are just that, words, but it gets to a point where if you let words continue on, then their message is gonna be heard. And the way to stand up to that is by speaking out, like I'm doing right now. Sometimes I feel the need to stand up for what I believe in, but I choose not to sometimes, because it's easier to stay quiet and ignore than it is to take action and be part of something. So I'm working on a couple of things, not only for myself, but for the podcast. I'm also working on 2-3 things about where we're headed. I want to be a little bit more community involved. I want to be more involved in my community, because we have a big problem with hate and bigotry that is starting to come afloat. All the closet racists are coming out in these past 2 years, and I'm sure more will come as the political turmoil of the country changes every day. So I'm sure we will see more racism, not only between blacks and whites, blacks and Hispanics, but between everybody. There's so much hate in everybody's hearts at the moment. Now, racism. Without racism, you cannot have hate. And hate goes both ways. For example, If a racist hates me because of the way that I look, okay, that's it. But if I then take his hate and turn it into my own hate by saying, well, if you hate me, I must hate you too. And I want to share a little story that I read the other day. It's actually a comic book / book. It's called I Am Gandhi. Very, very informative. And it's about Gandhi and his tribulations and life. In one story there was a general who would always go after Gandhi for what he believed. He would always try to jail him. He'd always try to imprison him because of Gandhi's beliefs. And one day, Gandhi made sandals, handmade sandals. He made them for this general and brought it to him. The general, all upset, said, why would you do this? Why would you bring me this? I hate you, you hate me. Why? And Gandhi peacefully said, it is better to make friends than to make enemies. And that made me realize that you can be peaceful with a racist and you can try to make amends with someone that hates you. But that's all you can do. You can do your part. You cannot force them to like you. You cannot force them to be a better person. But change starts within. And if you don't allow their hate to be contagious and invade your body with that hate, then we are on the right path. We are showing the other cheek, but we're not fighting back. Physically at least, but we're fighting back with words, with ideas, and with new ways of doing things. The world may not be perfect, but we can make our little worlds perfect, one person at a time, by not letting anger, by not letting hate, by not letting pitiful things like me being late or someone else being late anger me. Being blocked, no problem. Being ignored, being ghosted, okay. I'm not going to force someone to talk to me, and if they don't want to talk to me, I will respect their decision. So, let me know what you thought about today's episode in the comment section. Please let me know how you feel about these one-on-ones chats. I want to do a little series about different topics. So far we've done fears. Now we're moving on to anger, and I want to maybe do something on love or lust next episode. Once again, I want to thank everybody who has listened to my podcast, episode 5 so far. You are a trooper, and I cannot thank you enough for your patronage. Thank you so much for all the Instagram community who has supported me, always participating in poll night, art night, making sure that everybody stays engaged and always has a positive mindset. Now, you can always find me on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and iTunes. So if you wanna get some more from me, please hit the subscribe button. Let me know what you think in the comments, and you're valued, you matter, you're important, and fuck what everybody else thinks.